Welcome to Anime Fraud or Not, where we're trying to find out which anime characters are not living up to their portrayal in the series or by the fandom. Now, before we start, we have three different tiers. Either you're a fraud, you're on fraud watch, which means we're keeping our eye on you, or you're in the clear and you're not a fraud at all. With this series, we're going to be talking about a whole bunch of different anime, but today we will start with One Piece because in the One Piece community, this is heavy. For One Piece, we'll be talking up to chapter 1098. So if you're not caught up with the manga, back out of the video right now because we will be talking manga spoilers. You have been warned. First on the table is Dracule Mihawk. The reason is he really the world's strongest swordsman. Now you guys already know how I feel about this topic, but to break it down a little further for everybody out there, I think Mihawk is insanely powerful. Obviously, he wields the Yoru, the supreme grade black blade that has a permanent black color around it. So we know the haki is elite. We see what Mihawk has been able to do in teaching Zoro how to use haki. So now Zoro has stepped his game up in Wano and post Wano territory. We see all the stuff that's going on with Mihawk already. And obviously we could look at Mihawk and say, listen, you were able to rival Shanks, so you must be up there. But there are some questions when you're talking about Mihawk's portrayal on what we've seen so far on his power. You have him trying to confront Whitebeard during the Marineford War, sending an attack and having it blocked by Diamond Jozu. Now again, Mihawk did not intend to attack somebody that was wielding diamond powers. We get all of that. A swordsman can't cut what they do not intend to cut. We understand that. But again, the attack was intended to land on Whitebeard, who happens to be one of the strongest wielders of haki of all time in the One Piece verse. He is a legend, and that is why Mihawk wanted to measure the distance between their power. And we also know that Mihawk was a character that was able to cut ships. He is known throughout the One Piece world as an elite swordsman. But when you're looking at the haki portrayal of Mihawk, when you're looking at how other characters react to Mihawk, they do not treat him with the same level of respect as a Shanks. When Mihawk wants to go against Whitebeard, Diamond Jozu stepping in the way. Then you're having characters like Flower Blade Vista wanting to battle against him. But when Shanks was pulling up on Whitebeard's ship, all of the other crewmates moved out the way and they let Shanks get to Whitebeard because they knew what type of time Shanks is on. Shanks is an elite swordsman. He has crazy haki. Shanks has pulled off haki feats in the series that we have not seen any other character pull off so far. Does this mean Mihawk's haki is weak? No, it does not. Does this mean that Mihawk's haki can't contend with Shanks? No, that's not what it means either. But what it does mean is that we have to look at the title and say, well, maybe there's room for some other characters to have that title respectfully. For one, we don't know how Mihawk got the title. Two, there are titles in One Piece that have been debunked by Oda himself in the series. We've seen it. Whether you want to look at Whitebeard getting the World's Strongest Man title. Now, I know there's people out there that say, well, Whitebeard got the World's Strongest Man title strictly because of his Devil Fruit. I am not a part of that camp. I believe Whitebeard got his World's Strongest Man title because of the Devil Fruit on top of him having insane haki, because we have to look at what Whitebeard was doing in battles against Goldie Roger, in battles against elite opponents, even in God Valley. Whitebeard is an elite character and the Devil Fruit alone would not be enough to put him on those levels. And how do we know this? Because Blackbeard has his Devil Fruit right now. And nobody in the One Piece series is calling Blackbeard the world's strongest man. And did I forget to mention that he also has the Dark Fruit in conjunction with Whitebeard's Tremor Fruit? Still, nobody is calling Blackbeard the world's strongest man. The Marines don't really respect Mihawk on the level that I believe they should. We know that Mihawk was called the Marine Hunter. We know that he is part of the Cross Guild, whose sole purpose is to hunt down the Marines and put bounties on their heads. When you're thinking about factions that are strictly opposing the world government and the Marines, you have to think of the Revolutionary Army and now the Cross Guild. And we know that Dragon's bounty is the highest in the One Piece world. So one would think that the Cross Guild's most powerful member, quote unquote, should be able to have an elite bounty. But his bounty still is not up there with the likes of Shanks, Whitebeard, Roger when they were alive. And this bounty was given to him after he joined the Cross Guild. So that makes me question, why are the Marines looking down on Mihawk? And the answer is as clear as day. Vegapunk created the Seraphim, which were modeled after the Warlords. We noticed that since the Marines abolished the Warlord system, they were banking all of their power, all of their hope into the Seraphim to replace said Warlords. S-Hawk forced Blackbeard to use haki for the first time that we've ever seen. We got to see Blackbeard use armament haki, and it was caused by S-Hawk, who is a Seraphim modeled after Mihawk. who, oh, by the way, has Dazbone's devil fruit power embedded into his body, who also has Lunarian abilities on top of that. This is who the government's banking on. They are banking on S-Hawk to one day surpass Mihawk. Personally, I think this is disrespectful to Mihawk. But this is the reality that Mihawk fans out there have to accept. I don't think Mihawk is a fraud. I'm just gonna get that out of the way. I think Mihawk is an incredible swordsman with great sword skills. But here's what comes into question. If you're of the camp that believes that great swordsmanship also means great haki and sword skills are not separate from haki, then you should just have Mihawk at the peak. Mihawk should be over the likes of Roger, because if Mihawk is holding those types of titles and having the great sword skills coupled with the great haki and all of these things, then he should be rank 1 because he has a permanent black blade. The only other character in One Piece that we've seen wield a permanent black blade belongs to Ryuma. But I do think there could be a separation for swordsmanship and haki. We know that different swords have different personalities. We got to see how Enma was reacting to Zoro and actually drawing the haki from his body because it demanded a higher level of haki from him. We got to see Odin's other sword that Hiyori wields not have those types of effects. Every sword moves differently. Every sword has its own different personality, and I believe if you are a skilled swordsman, you are able to bring that out and completely dominate the sword. Shanks has insane haki, and he's a swordsman, but he doesn't have a permanent black blade. Roger is an insane haki user, and he is also a swordsman, but he does not have a permanent black blade. Rayleigh is another candidate that falls under those systems. So does that mean that none of them can hang with Mihawk? Does that mean that Mihawk is stronger than all of them? I beg to differ. I believe that your sword skills and your haki can also be separate. I believe you can be an incredible sniper in the One Piece world, but if your haki is not up to snuff, you're out of there. But we do know that haki can help make anybody in their respective fields become better. You can be a better fighter, a better sniper, a better swordsman. We get all of that. But I do think there are some separations between that and haki because, as Kaido said, haki transcends all. And this is why I have to put Mihawk on fraud watch, yo. I have to put him on fraud watch because I need to see haki feats that rival Shanks, and I have not seen that from Mihawk. I have to see the haki feats that I think can contend with characters like Saint Figurlin Garling, that can contend with the Saint Ethan of the Gorosei. There are characters out there who wield swords that don't have permanent black blades, by the way. They don't have permanent black blades, but it does bring Mihawk's world's strongest swordsman title into question. Next character that's up is red-haired Shanks. Reason? There's a lot of people that think that Shanks is evil. Is Shanks a fraud? Well, here's the reason why this is even a thing in the first place. A lot of people look at Shanks and they say, well, listen, you must be part of the Celestial Dragons. Saint Figurlin Garling has to be your relative of some sort. Everybody looks at Shanks and they say, you're in the room with the Gorosei having a meeting, having a conversation. How are you able to pull something like this off if you were a pirate that was on Roger's ship back in the day? This does not add up. This doesn't make sense. You must have some interconnections. You must be evil. You must be a villain. Personally, for me, I don't think it would make sense for the story for Shanks to be evil at this point. Shanks not revealing his hand of being evil at this point in the story, when you have the Gorosei literally leaving the Holy Land to join the front lines in battle, literally makes no sense to me whatsoever. I think what Shanks had to do with the Gorosei, maybe if he was a relative of Saint Figurlin Garling or not, has nothing to do with him being a villain and him trying to be evil. But that doesn't mean that I don't think that him and the Straw Hats will have to battle at some point. They will have to battle at some point. I don't know if it's going to be to the death. It may be a Navy back fight or something like that, but I don't think that Shanks is evil. If he were evil, I feel like he would have revealed his hand already, because he already claimed that he wants to go for the One Piece. The time is now. What are you waiting for? That doesn't mean that those people that are claiming that he has Celestial Dragon blood out there are wrong, because I think that he may have Celestial Dragon blood as well. But as we know, there are characters in the One Piece world who hold Celestial Dragon blood and they are not evil. Why is Shanks being thrown in these conversations? Who knows? But I think it's fair to at least put him on fraud watch. I think we have to keep our eye on him because you never know with Oda. Like I've said in the past, the moment that Imu was confirmed to be a character within the series, I said anything can happen in the series. There's nothing that can be casted away as this is impossible. Anything can happen. Number 3, Oh man, this one is wild. Monkey D. Garp is on the table. Reason why? His morality is in question. Yes, a lot of people out there, especially the guys over at That One Piece Talk, have been discussing whether Garp is a fraud or not, because we know that Garp is portraying himself to be this good guy, you know, a guy that really holds justice close and true to his heart. But later on, we find out that he was on God Valley, not really helping the slaves. He had nothing to do with helping the slaves. His sole mission was to find Roger and see what was going on. Now, again, we did not see the full God Valley incident, so that doesn't mean that Garp didn't change his ways and didn't make moves, but we do see time and time again, Garp is falling short when it comes to really protecting people like he says he's supposed to do. Is Garp a fraud? I'm gonna shoot Garp some bail here. I don't think Garp's a fraud, and here's why. I think Garp has demonstrated a significant amount of resistance to what the Marines and the world government want, but he's stuck in a terrible position because Garp is one of the strongest Marines out right now. Even in his old age, he is regarded as the hero of the Marines. Garp the Fist, he boxed against Don Chinjao, he fought Roger, he fought Rox. He is a legend. But even as a legend, he realized that he did not want to become a fleet admiral. You also have characters like Monkey D. Dragon, who used to be a part of the Navy, part of Garp's lineage that backed out. Luffy is Garp's grandson. He wanted nothing to do with the Marines. Kuzan, who happens to be Garp's protege, left the Marines. Kobe technically left the Marines because he is part of Sword. These are the things we have to look at. All of these characters that have crossed paths with Garp or are related to Garp casted away the Marines, wanted nothing to do with the Marines, and why? Because Garp, somewhere deep down, has morals. He just is terrible at executing it. And we've gotten to see this at Marineford. There was a moment in time where Sengoku ordered Garp to stop Luffy from saving Ace, and Garp couldn't really do it. He couldn't live up to it. He couldn't do it. Then you have a moment later where Akainu takes out Ace, and Garp is on his way to literally destroy Akainu if it were not for Sengoku to save Akainu's life. These are clear demonstrations that Garp is conflicted. He's in a terrible position. He does not want to do evil things. He thinks that the Marines have been doing some evil things, but he wants to use the Marines. He wants to use that channel to help make great things happen. He is in a similar cloth, to me, of that of a Fujitora. I think him and Fujitora are both conflicted characters who have great sense of morals, but they are terrible at executing it, or they are just on the wrong side of history. So I don't think Garp is a fraud. I think he's just conflicted. Number 4, this one is wild, but a lot of the One Piece fans out there have said this person needs to be on here, and it's wild. But Monkey D. Dragon is next on the table. Is Dragon a fraud? Well, first we have to look at why he would be here. Dragon actually has 2 cases. There are people out there that have questioned his strength, but there are also people out there that have questioned his morality as well. When you're talking about the strength side of things, people are wondering, why are you running away when Blackbeard is taking down Baltigo? Why are you not handling your business when Ginny is getting kidnapped? Why are you not showing up? What is the issue, Dragon? I'm just gonna let you guys know right now that I have no disrespect for Dragon in my heart whatsoever. I can't do it. I have been looking at what the Gorosei have been showing us so far. We know that Imu is a character in the series that is probably among the top 3, top 2 strongest, if not top 1. And I know that Dragon has been planning to go against the highest of the world government, which means, yes, the Gorosei members and all. I believe Dragon has been planning for that for a very, very long time. If you want to question Dragon's strength, people out there, just take a quick glance at Sabo. See what Sabo has been doing. See what they're calling Sabo out in these streets. They are calling him the Flame Emperor in One Piece, and it's not because he has Ace's Devil Fruit. It's because he took Ace's Devil Fruit and brought it to another level. The same Sabo that was in the room with the Gorosei and took a hit and was still able to survive to tell the tale. This is how powerful Sabo is, and we know that Dragon has trained him. Dragon has trained him. Let's get serious. Dragon is one of the strongest characters. Somebody that is so close to Vegapunk, can't be lacking knowledge, can't be making strategic moves. We know that Dragon is trying to overthrow the world government. That is his sole mission. So if we're looking at Dragon not saving a Ginny, if we're looking at Dragon doing certain things that is tough for him to do, and people are looking at him saying, why are you running from Baltigo from Blackbeard? You can fight Blackbeard, can't you? Dragon is very, very calculated. Like I said, he's one of the great minds that's up there with Vegapunk. They are friends. He knows the history of Ohara. He knows everything that went down. Dragon has that type of knowledge. So clearly, if Dragon is trying to protect his troops, if he's trying to make a great decision for the long run, if he thinks that, okay, you know, Ginny got kidnapped, but this is for the betterment of the world, if I keep going and if I keep pushing forward, we can't look at Dragon and say you're a bad leader for that. We can't look at Dragon and say you're weak for that. That's not enough for me. Dragon to me is not a fraud. He's safe. He's good to go. Oh yeah, Admiral Kizaru is on the table, y'all. Now, a lot of people may be asking, why is he here? I mean, he's pretty good, right? A lot of people have been questioning his strength as of late. Admiral Kizaru was somebody that everybody in the One Piece community had their eye on as a top 10 character. One of the strongest admirals. Obviously, he has a light fruit. He's insane. He fought against Rayleigh. He did all these great things. We get all of that. But Kizaru has overestimated himself on multiple occasions. Whether it was the time he told Akainu that he was ready to go to Wano to handle both Big Mom and Kaido. I don't buy it based on what happened to him in Egghead. Now, we do know that Kizaru is powerful, and I was impressed with what he was showing us against Gear 5 Luffy. We were seeing clones and all these different things I did not know Kizaru had in his arsenal. But at the end of the day, Luffy was able to hit him with an advanced Conqueror's attack, one straight to the head, and that's all it took for Kizaru to drop out. Now, was Luffy tired from this? Yes. Was Luffy also down from the count from this? Absolutely. But Luffy on Egghead was also fighting multiple different opponents, and he had to fight against Rob Lucci as well. We have to look at Luffy not having exactly fresh legs and looking at Kizaru coming into Egghead with fresh legs. He was ready to go. Now, for the Admiral fans out there, that may not change your mind. You may still have Admirals over the Yonko and vice versa for the Yonko fans out there, but that's not what I'm questioning. What I'm questioning are Kizaru's statements on how he felt he would be able to combat against a Big Mom, combat against a Kaido at the same time, why he felt he was so powerful he could just go into Egghead, bypass Luffy, and get the job done. I don't think he realized what he was dealing with. Personally, I don't think Kizaru really understands what he's dealing with. I don't think he understands how powerful the Yonko are or how powerful Luffy has gotten. I just don't think he understands. And for that, for me, I'm not going to say he's a fraud because I think he's tough, but he's on a fraud watch. He has to show me something better than what I've seen right now, because right now it looks bad for him. It looks very, very bad. Even Saint Saturn is looking at him saying, listen, man, you got to do better than what you're showing right now. Fraud watch for Kizaru. We have Admiral Ryokugyu, aka Admiral Aramaki, aka Green Bull. Why is he on the table? A lot of people have been saying he is the weakest admiral who has portrayed himself to be elite. Is this true? Well, let's look at this. Admiral Aramaki was sent to Wano to clean up everything that was going on. He beat up a half-dead king and a half-dead queen. I'm not giving him credit for that. Then he was fighting against the Akazaya 9, coupled with a Momonosuke, coupled with a Yamato. Momonosuke wanted Yamato to chill out because Momonosuke wanted to use Aramaki as practice so that he can demonstrate that he will be able to protect Wano once Yamato has to quote-unquote leave. He's a disgrace. Momonosuke using you as practice is already a bad look. Yamato not even going all out because she's purposely holding back so Momonosuke can use you as practice is a bad look. The fact that Luffy, Sanji, Zoro, Jinbei are all watching from afar and not even interfering because they know that you're a threat that's not big enough for them currently is a problem. The fact that Shanks is miles away and uses Conqueror's Haki across the Wi-Fi Haki across the seas just to let you know that he's in the vicinity somewhere, and that is enough to stop you and send you home packing is bad. The fact that Sabo goes into the Holy Land, sees you and Fujitora there, and is able to free Kuma from your clutches and get out. And even an Akainu is saying that is a bad look for the admirals. There are no excuses for them. That's a bad look for Admiral Aramaki. So on multiple occasions, Admiral Aramaki is looking like dirt. He's looking like trash. He's a fraud. We're on to the next one. This one is wild. Kaido to the table. Yes, Kaido is here, y'all. I know a lot of the people out there may be saying, what? How did Kaido get here? Because you guys have to remember, Kaido had this huge portrayal set up about him. Everybody said, you're the world's strongest creature. 1v1, bet on Kaido. I mean, there's nobody that can stop Kaido 1v1. I'm not even gonna talk about what happened with Gear 5 Luffy, but the moment Kaido showed us 5 characters that he felt could fight with him in a 1v1 or could possibly beat him in a 1v1, that statement was already debunked. That world's strongest creature was already out of there. Even if he's incredibly durable, it does not matter. Kaido already knew that there was characters out there that have achieved higher haki levels than he has. And it was his statement that said, haki transcends all. To me, I don't think Kaido is a fraud based on what he said. But the portrayal surrounding Kaido prior to him fighting Luffy was fraudulent. It was fraudulent. Kaido can definitely be beaten in a 1v1. I mean, he showed us 5 characters that could do it before he even fought Luffy. Let's get serious. But I don't think Kaido himself has said anything fraudulent. I think his portrayal was fraudulent though. So I guess we gotta say Kaido was technically, yeah, he was a fraud. Kaido is incredibly powerful, but his portrayal was fraudulent. I mean, Shanks literally stopped him from going to the war, but it's 1v1 bet on Kaido. I'm not betting on him. I'm betting on Shanks. Momonosuke to the table, man. Momonosuke. Why is Momonosuke here? Well, Momonosuke has some big shoes to fill. He's trying to be the great shogun of Wano. He's really trying to fill his father Odin's footsteps. Those are some tough shoes to fill. Because for me, Momonosuke is a fraud. For now, he's a fraud. And let me tell you why. Earlier, we were talking about how Momonosuke was stopping Yamato from fighting against Admiral Aramaki because he wanted to prove to himself that he could really do it. Well, truth is, he wasn't the one that stopped Admiral Aramaki. It was red-haired Shanks. And the fact that Yamato can't join the Straw Hats right now is credit to Momonosuke not being up to snuff. He is not there. He wants to be there. He's pushing himself to be there, and he's trying to convince himself that he's there, but Yamato knows the real deal. Yamato knows what's really going on. If Yamato really felt that Momonosuke were good enough to hold his own, Yamato will be a part of the Straw Hats as we speak. But Yamato is staying back in Wano because she knows she has to look out for Momonosuke because Momonosuke does not have the power yet to really rule over Wano. Really, Momonosuke is looking out for his advisors. He's looking out for Kinemon to really support him. He's looking for Yamato to support him. So he's not really there. He's trying, but he's not there. So for that fact alone, I'm giving him fraud. He's a fraud. Lastly, Charlotte Linlin, aka Big Mom. You know, Big Mom had a decent showing in Wano. I'm not gonna say it was a trash showing. I think it was a decent showing because I mean, you're fighting against Law and Kid at the same time. I mean, that's really, really crazy to do. And both of them really awakened their devil fruits against you in that fight. So we have to give Linlin some credit there. But I'm not letting Big Mom off the hook. I'm sorry, all the Big Mom fans out there, I'm not letting Big Mom off the hook. Big Mom once said that Roger is lucky because she would have taken Roger out if it wasn't. Listen. Big Mom was once on the Den when she's saying that Roger was lucky, that she would have taken Roger out. If she knew everything, if she had the answer for the roll poneglyphs and all that, she would have handled her business against Roger. That's cap. We know that is. We know she's chatting because realistically, if that really were the case, that would have gotten handled a long time ago, Big Mom. But you weren't able to do it. Why? Because you weren't strong enough, which is okay. We're talking Goldie Roger. Then again, Big Mom is arguing with Luffy on the Dendemushi because Luffy acquires Fishman Island as his territory. So you're mad you lost Fishman Island? I mean, why weren't you mad when Whitebeard had his Jolly Roger blown in the wind through Fishman Island? Why weren't you mad then? We know why. Because you wanted Fishman Island for all that time, but once you saw Whitebeard's Jolly Roger, you said, hold on. Time out. That is something I can't deal with. Whitebeard is there, I don't want Fishman Island right now. But the moment Whitebeard kicked the bucket, all of a sudden Big Mom's flag is there. They're going there picking up they're going there collecting taxes and all these things from Candy and all. We get what Big Mom's trying to do. Big Mom is trying to build an empire and she's great at doing it. Don't get me wrong. Germa 66 and all these things, Big Mom is great at capitalizing on territories and bringing in different families from all across the land and all these things. She's great at that. But there are some people you can't mess with and she thinks she can. If she really felt she could take down Whitebeard, she would have gotten Fishman Island beforehand, or they would have had a war, but she knew what it was. She also knew what it was against Roger because she did not fight Roger while he was alive and she was in her younger days. We get all of this. Big Mom is an elite character, but she overestimated herself, which is why, to me, Big Mom is a fraud. She has fraudulent tendencies. We got to get her out of here. She's a fraud. Now, you guys let me know down in the comment section below which characters you agree with or disagree with. And again, we're going to be talking some different series as well. So we're just starting with One Piece right now, but stay tuned and you guys will see some more later on. And with that, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.